lot made of DDP and Israel
Yeah.
Adesanya going into it. In the past, DDP said, "Oh, you're not really. I'm more of an African than you are." There's been a lot of back and forth.
He's white, by the way. You don't know.
Yeah, exactly, from South Africa. So there's been a lot of stuff between both of them. It seemed like they kind of squashed that beef after the fight, which is pretty typical. But that was another thing Dante didn't like. He's like, no, like, no, not miss. He's like,
I was surprised because DDP kind of went a little too far there.
Yeah, he made him cry during the press conference.
I didn't even see that. Wow. Okay.
Oh yeah. So Israel Adesanya started crying. Yeah. So
and then hearing stories from Adam, who covers UFC, Adam Hill covers UFC daily. I'm like, man, this guy has no boundaries here. So he's been pushing the whole African thing. So when they actually did embrace, I was surprised. But I do like that people could separate business, selling pay-per-views. Obviously, there's maybe a limit, but in combat sports, there's more. You can get away with stuff there. So that was surprising.
In the NFL.
Yeah, it's a different game. But
because you have a coach, you have teammates. You don't want one guy,
individual, and you also you're all macho and you can handle it, which I guess Izzy cried. But go ahead, Fran. Set up the question. My bad.
I don't know if Tua could be in the UFC.
Brian Flores would not be in his corner.
Exactly. We should do that. Brian Flores versus Tua Tagovailoa. That'd be a good match. So obviously DDP beat Adesanya with a chokehold in the fourth.
Yeah.
Fourth round. I thought at that point, Izzy actually looked like, wow, okay, he was kind of hanging in there. And then like he said, I made one bad move and I kind of paid for it. So DZ said, well, in my DNA test, I have 2% African, so I'm pretty bad.
DZ and DDP are the same DNA.
Yeah, exactly. So Gilbert, just what were your thoughts on the match between DDP and Israel?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty balanced fight for the most part, but you could always tell that DDP had a little more pop there and he had the bigger shots, but he was tired quickly. He was very gassed. It was smart that he was going to the ground because that is not Adesanya's game. So maybe he got a little more tired going to the ground, trying to take him down. And to his credit, he did do it. And, obviously it worked out at the end in the fourth round, but I don't know where he got this energy because he was just breathing hard. And then whenever he popped them, which was at a lower rate, you could tell he was rocking them. So there was a power difference. And this is where I thought maybe the questions about him retiring were gonna happen if he lost, because he doesn't have the same pop anymore. Izzy, at one point, Izzy was a hard striker who was a well-rounded striker because he has a kicking game, the kickboxing. He wasn't the most powerful. He wasn't Alex Pereira, but to see DDP rock him and then him not able to throw back at the same level was a little concerning, but it was at a high rate. He's a very polished, accurate striker, and he still had that. But man, I think the chin is gone, Fernando. He got rocked a couple times, but he was like in the zone, breathing well. He still had his routine, and DDP is coming out after every round, and then popped him a couple of times, brought him down, and then in the fourth round, he rocked him with 3 punches. I think one to the side of the ear, and that really made Izzy kind of, run back, and he was a little wobbly, and then he caught him, brought him down, boom. And I'm not a fighter, but the chokehold was on there for half a second, and Adesanya was like, I am not going to deal with this. He has it on tight. I am out. So maybe part of the reason why he was okay to embrace DDP, like you had to eat the crap because also you lost. It's you can't be like, oh no, man, I hate you, and you said mean things, and you beat me. So I think at some point you kind of eat it. I do respect that Adesanya did that, and Adesanya, I do like that DDP also gave Adesanya his flowers for such an amazing career, and he's right. He did so much for MMA because at one point when we all waited for Conor McGregor to come back and he wasn't going to come back. Who was the guy main eventing these pay-per-views, being the star? Izzy was really saving it the same way that Alex Pereira is doing it right now. So he did have a 2-3 year stretch where he was just a big star. So shout out to DDP for highlighting that in the presser. But I was a little surprised that he decided to say, you know what, I won't retire. But who wants to go like that, right?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with all of that, and especially because he said I'm not going anywhere, so he's definitely excited about coming back. What do you think is? So obviously, two-parter. Alex Pereira. Well, no, I'll go with. What do you think? Is it Strickland for DDP?
It seems like it, and like you said too, Fernando, that you thought Strickland won that fight, or at least it was close, controversial. Why not go back and make it a decisive victory. Maybe you choke him out too, or maybe you get a knockout. Like DDP is not like he's a good champion, but he's not like the like unbeatable. He's not on this pound for pound list. So I would like to see Strickland, who for Strickland, a guy who talks a lot, hopefully doesn't see this because he does talk a lot. He's a little timid of a fighter, but he's more of a timing counter. And DDP is not like that. He's like a just like a I don't know. You open up the cage, the animal's gonna come out and just go at you. And that's why he's always breathing so hard. So it's a good fight there. But I think Strickland doesn't throw enough. And maybe if he did, maybe you could catch him a little bit. But it'll be a good fight. And like you mentioned, Fernando, it was close enough to give us a rematch.
What do you think about Alex Pereira and Khalil Roundtree?
It's getting to a point where they can't find opponents for the guy. And at one point, I thought if Strickland, if Adesanya won the title and beat DDP, maybe he goes up, maybe Alex comes down. Let's do it again. Like I like that. I like the what is it, trilogy or 4 fights, 5 fights, who knows? But I was down for one more, and now I don't. And then they have him going to Salt Lake City. I'm telling you, man, like Conor McGregor is not around. They need Alex to start saving these promotions here. They already used Sean O'Malley for what's it called? No, I was gonna say Noche Buena, but Noche UFC. So you got, and they're working on, man. We've covered like 3 fights with Alex involved. I know, without Mexicans. So it's a terrible fight. He's gonna win, but he's gonna headline a pay-per-view.
Could that be his last fight of 2024?
I don't know, dude. He might come back in December and fight again.
Because Dana White tweeted or said in the press conference, like, yeah, Conor's not coming back this year. And then Conor tweeted out, no, I want December. December is my date.
I believe Dana more than I believe Conor. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So lastly, before we get off of UFC, Alex Pereira said he wants to fight DDP at 185, and DDP replied he'd said he'd come up to 205 to fight Pereira for his belt. They both seem like they want a chance at the 180 at being a double champion. Which one do you think is more likely to happen?
One more time, DDP and who else?
And Alex Pereira.
And you're saying DDP will go up to challenge him? I like the cojones on DDP, but it's you're asking for a lot of trouble there, and especially going up to his weight class. I could definitely, and like I mentioned, I think he's a good fighter. He's not elite, but I think Alex will definitely have his way with him. But honestly, I'm all about heavyweight for him eventually, Fernando. I think you are too.
Yeah, no, I definitely would love to see that. Especially, we need to get this this Tom Aspinal, Jon Jones, all this. We need to get that all resolved. By the way, and Little Daniel's been giving me crap about it, but I actually like that Jon Jones is thinking about going with what's the name? Who's that guy that they've been trying to set up that fight for years?
Stipe Miocic.
Stipe, there you go. I'm okay with him going with Stipe. Why do you want to jump in with Aspinall right off the bat? Jump in, try and do a warm up with Stipe, and then go fight.
Have Aspinall fight Alex, and then the winner could fight Jon Jones. Why not?
Okay, but there you go. But what I'm saying is that Jon Jones needs.
He does. So maybe it's smart. It's without saying it. He's saying, "Hey, this guy owes it. I owe it to him."
By the way, that fight has to be in Vegas. Why? Oh, regardless, I would want to go to whatever. If he beats Aspinall, I have to be there because I want to see Dana White's reaction. If Jon Jones beats Aspinall, like he's gonna come in there.
Oh yeah,
and he's gonna kick his feet up on the table and be like, "What did I tell you guys?" Like, I know something.
Well, they haven't announced the Madison Square Garden card. I think they're eyeing that for Jon Jones, but maybe not.